Let this be your reminder. You're living life how you believe a life should be lived. That's exactly what this whole episode is going to be about. So let's get into it. What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Talking to Myself, capital S. So again, you're living life how you believe a life should be lived. And as you hear that, you feel the resonance that's coursing through your body, the remembrance of that, the reminder of that's true. And although it's something that's not new, it's something that you can feel that's what everybody's trying to do, is to just live life how they believe that life should be lived. But all these things get in the way of that. All the opinions of the people around you that believe they have it figured out. And honestly, it comes from the space of a well-meaning space, a well-meaning place, because it started off with the people that helped raise us and their concern for our safety. And it's like, hey, I already know fire is hot. Don't touch that. It'll burn you. And there's different approaches for the people that have those experiences of life thus far to make you aware of that and to teach you certain things, right? Of how fire is hot and ice is cold, and even little things of like, it's cold outside, you should wear a jacket, you should wear a scarf. Like, there's different approaches to it, but more often than not, because it's shared from a space of fear, it's given in a very overbearing way. At least I experienced a lot of that in a very overbearing way. Like, go outside, oh my God, you need a scarf, you need to bundle up, just get off of me. Let me do it my damn self. And it's like, we start to defy in little ways because it feels claustrophobic. It feels like they're imposing on our reality. And over time, because we end up finding out that they were right more often than not about a lot of things, like, oh damn, fire is hot. And also, like, don't touch the outlet, like little stuff like that. Like, okay, it was cold outside. I went outside without a jacket and I ended up getting a cold or ended up getting sick. And all these little ways that the people that wanted the best for us and wanted to provide that sense of safety, they just also had to let us know, I told you this is why you should listen to me, right? I heard that so many times. This is why you should listen to me. And we start to question what we believe to be true and what's being said on the outside. And it's ways that it starts to override our intuition. It starts to override the insights that we're telling ourselves and the guidance that we're giving ourselves, because it's been kind of ingrained of, this is why you should listen to me, this is why you were wrong and I was right, and this whole song and dance. And then also put that in combination with discipline, right? Being disciplined, even in school. If like, you might get detention, you might get a write-up, a note sent to your parents, or a call home. And all these things of like, okay, if you don't study, you don't pass the test, you get a 0. What happens when you get a 0? More often than not, you probably get in trouble. I did. Not only did I get in trouble, I got hit. So it's all these things of listen to the outside, listen to the outside, listen to the outside. Ignore how you're feeling. Listen to the outside. I'm tired. I don't want to go to school. You better go to school. Not 7 days a week. Jesus Christ. 5 days a week. And not really having much time to yourself because you better do your homework. If you don't do your homework, you're going to get in trouble. And then that transitions into like work and stuff. And it just drowns out your voice, right? It drowns out our voice. And we start to now make what other people perceive about us way more important than what we perceive about us. And we start to forget the life that we wanted. And the way that that becomes clear is you can hear it with people around you, everybody starts talking more about what they don't want to experience more than what they do, right? People's visions and like what they want. Oh, I just don't want to work. I just don't want to pay bills. I want money so I can get rid of this. I want the freedom so I don't have to do this. It's never just speaking forward. It's always like, let me tell you what I want by telling you what I don't want. And it's this constant, like, that's where the saying actually comes into play: one step forward, two steps back. Let me tell you why I want this thing and the two reasons why I don't want to experience these things. It's this like push pull that everybody starts going through. And it's good to just come back and realize at the end of the day, even though the people were right about a decent amount of things as we were growing up, they're still freestyling it at the end of the day. They're still day by day have no clue what they're going through. And what they're going to do is this false idea, this illusion of, when I become an adult, I'm going to have it figured out because all these adults are telling me what to do. And I'm quite frankly sick and tired of it. And you reach a point, right, where you start to become an adult and you start to realize, I don't know fully what I'm doing. That means that this whole time, nobody knew what the hell they were doing. They were just kind of like making it up and say, hey, like, given off what I experienced, fire's hot. But also, given what I experienced and what I've been told, you should go to school, you should go to college, you should do this and that, and you should want to have a family, and you should want to be married, and you should want to have a house, and all these like societal norms that get like pressured on. And anytime we want something outside of that, it is felt a little rebellious, a little kind of taboo-ish, depending on whatever it is that you like. And that's the point, though. The point is to go against the grain in certain moments, because you can feel the discomfort within you when you question what you want. And you start to question if you should ignore that, put that aside, and just want what everybody says that you should want. Because they would accept you and they would be approving of that and they would love you even more, right? Because you're making their world so much better. And the life that they want to live, you're bringing that to light in the most beautiful way. But what about yours? What about your life? And you get to see, if you just put everybody, take them all out of the picture, what do you want? If you could just drop in and just think about truly your dream life and just acknowledge all the things that you want really aren't bad. You just want what you want. You're living life how you believe a life should be lived. And a fun way to think about it is, a vision I got was seeing myself as a soul and just looking and observing Earth and the people living among it, and thinking to myself, man, if I had the ability to be a person, to be a human, I would do this and this and this and this. And I'm here. I'm a person. I'm a human being. I have the ability to live life how I believe a life should be lived. And in the process of doing so, the reason there's turbulence with other people, the reason why there's friction, some resistance, and people may not like what you like, is because you're poking holes in the ways that they ignored the ways that they want to live life. You're poking holes in the illusion that they bought into, that you can't have the life that you want. You have to settle. And you may want certain things, unless you have the money, unless you have the status, unless you have the permission slips to do what you want, you can't do what you want. That's what they bought into. So when you just do what you want, they're like, hey, that's not fair. Nuh-uh, what do you mean? No, that's not how life goes. Because if you're saying that's how life goes, that means All these years has passed by and I didn't get to do what I want. So if I didn't get to do what I want, how come you get to do what you want? No, no. Actually, you know what? I'm putting my foot down. I'm putting my foot down and I'm not going to allow it. And you get to see it has nothing to do with you. Even if they say your name and they say something personal, even if they say something as crazy as I'll disown you. Okay, I get it. It's trippy. It's such a trippy thing for somebody to look back on their life, see you doing what you want to do, and they're like, no way. Everything I believed to be true was a lie. I could have done what I wanted this whole time. Like, that's borderline soul crushing. And that's your purpose. Not to crush souls, but it's to let them know, whoever it is that your light is irritating, hey, you don't have to do that. You can stop like right now. And even something as small as tattoos. Like my pops had a whole flip about the tattoos I got. I got 3, one on my chest, one down my spine, and one on my shoulder. The one I got on my shoulder was literally the second I graduated from high school. My mom paid for it. It was my graduation gift. And he was so bothered by it because he was like so deep into the religion and the safe way of going about life. He was always very, very safe, very cautious. And that made me the opposite. It made me want to be reckless because it felt so confining and like so much like a straitjacket. So I wanted to just really feel my freedom. And I love art. So my first tattoo was how I sign my art. It's tribal. I love sharp lines, and it's an M and a G connected. So I loved it. And I got to collaborate with the tattoo artist, get it done, one sitting, boom. So happy. And when he saw it, he was like, oh my God, why would you defy your body like that? And it's your body's pure. And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? This is art. It's art. It's beautiful. It's my art. I drew it. And that's my rule. Like for me, with my tattoos, like I can't get a tattoo unless I draw it. Because I'm like customizing my character. I like it. That's my fun thing to do. So like I want to get another one. I want to incorporate the scar that I have. I don't even know if you can see it, but I got a scar. I have a plate where I broke my forearm during training, and I already have what I'm going to get. I just have to draw it out and like get the concept out and then collaborate with the artist because I want the tattoo artist to also be a part of the process too. That's a whole sidebar. So in hearing things like that, right, I always met friction with people that were limited, that placed limits on themselves, right? They weren't really limited, but when they saw how I approached life in a limitless way, in a fearless way, not to say I didn't feel fear, I just did it anyway. Because feeling confined, being confined, and having these like glass ceilings, glass walls, and having to be okay with that, honestly, take me out. Literally, take me out if that's the only way. So I was willing since a kid to see what happens when I jump through the glass. I'm either going to fly or I'm going to fall, and if I fall, I won't make it. But either way, this life won't be worth it if I have to stay within the box. And as you do that, people that always had those conversations within themselves about wanting to break through the glass are going to be like trying to poke holes to see if it's real. Because if you succumb to their fear, right, of them saying, again, if they'll disown you or if they'll never talk to you again or whatever the thing is, right? It's always like this grave thing of like completely cutting you off. And you have to be okay with it because if you succumb to it, the fear is reacting so strongly, it's trying to get you to buy into the beliefs. And that's the thing with fear-based beliefs. It has to go to extreme measures through the intensity that you're feeling within you and trying to get these thoughts going and to get you to like not break through the glass. And especially people that have believed that their entire life, they don't want to believe that their whole life was a lie. It's like finding out about Santa when you're like, I don't know, 30 something, 40. And you're like, you mean my whole life? So, I mean, when you see it that way, it's like, okay, it has nothing to do with me. They're just really trying to see, like, is this a real thing? And when you jump anyway, and you show them, like, truly nothing is going to stop me, then they're like, oh, okay. Now I get to evaluate life. Because also in the separation from you, for somebody to say something like, I'm not going to talk to you, there's like a level of importance for them to use that as leverage. So just in the separation, you already planted the seed of possibility. And also by still choosing yourself, you just develop the level of confidence and trust within yourself and a level of safety that you're not going to abandon you. And you also get to show that person what that looks like by leading by example. And you get them to question all the illusions that they subconsciously knew were illusions, but they bought into out of safety or fear of a lack of safety. And one example of that, a very clear example, was when I went into fighting. For me, it made sense. A lot of people saw it in my life that it made sense. Like my best friends in New York, they were just like, the second we saw MMA, and it was like low budget TV before it blew up, they were like, watch Mike do this. My mom was like, I'm not a fan of you doing this, but I know once you make a decision, I won't be able to change your mind. So I just got to ride with it. And like she understood me. When I told my pops that I was going to fight, start training, prepare for fighting, he did not like it, did not want me to do it. Tried every way to get me to stop. Every time I had an injury, like a decent, serious injury, he was like, okay, so you're done, right? So one time I tore my meniscus. As I'm recovering from it, right? I can't train. He was like, okay, so you're done. You're done with all this. I'm like, no. And there was the time, I believe I mentioned in the previous video, I tore my ACL, partial MCL, and meniscus. And that was a tough one because that was, at the moment, a potentially career-ending injury. Like, it took 2 years to recover. People won't come back the same. The only example I had was Adrian Peterson, who came back in 9 months, better than ever, like in the NFL. And he had like the greatest performance. And I was like, I'm going to come back like that. And I did. I came back better than ever. And like, I leveled up beyond. And that's what got me to go down this path. And when he said to me in that moment, like, okay, now you're done, right? Because this is a serious injury. And I was like, you know what? I already have enough going against me. Not only do I have my opponents and their supporters, I also have to close the gap between people that's been training since a kid, because I started training right after college. And I now have to close this training gap of experience. I also never competed by myself, like in a lone sport. I always did team sports like baseball and football. And I didn't even do it like that consistently to like have competition experience. So I have to close all these gaps, and I have my own like doubts and fears that come up that I got to navigate. And the one person that I thought would support me is constantly against me. It's like, look, I can't have this conversation with you anymore. You're either going to support me or you're not. And if you're not, clearly you're not, I'm okay with it. But just be aware, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. This is my dream. I'm dedicated to it. And nothing is going to stop me. But you will watch me win. And that caused a lot of friction. There were times where like days would go by, we wouldn't talk. And I lived at his place. I even had a teammate come by and hang out. And he said it was the most awkward thing ever because he spoke to my pops and spoke to me, but we never spoke. Like me and my pops didn't speak. So he just had like separate conversations. But I knew I had to stick to that decision. I had to commit to me. And it was tough. I didn't want to do it, but I knew I had to. And when I became a champion, right, it was before I defended it, when I first won it. I won it. My rib popped in the training camp leading up to it. The only times I got hurt was really in training, other than my ACL injury. So I was recovering from my forearm being fractured the first time. So I had that going into the fight, and despite that, I won the title. And I was riding with my pops, and although we had the friction, I took a picture with him wearing the belt because I put that aside and I understood this, right? As far as I'm living life how I believe a life should be lived, he's just buying into false beliefs. I knew I had to lead by example, even though he was my father. And while we were driving to go eat somewhere, he stopped. He was just like, you know what? You sticking to your guns of like not folding under the pressure I was putting onto you got me to see that dreams can come true. And it got me to see that I was wrong into trying to get you to believe the things that I believe to be true. Because I was trying to go the safe route and I was just trying to protect you, but I got to see I was actually limiting you. And it got him to want to leave a job that he really was pretty miserable at. Like he had a good position in a hospital, but he just wasn't happy there, like managing the people there. So it got him to want to pursue his dreams again of being a director in writing. And it was cool. It was awesome to like be acknowledged in that way. And it wasn't something I was holding on to. Like I genuinely let it go. And after some time, like I moved out and all those things. Like when I was recovering from my ACL, I did that by myself in my apartment. And it was a journey of me really connecting with me. And I got to the space where I didn't need that validation from him. And that's when I got it. And it was just a reminder for me to just constantly lead by example, not take what people say personally, because they're living life how they believe a life should be lived. So even if it feels limiting, even if it's the safe route, right, that my pops was doing in the beginning, all right, that's cool. If you're living life how you believe a life should be lived, who am I to tell you that you should live it this way? If I don't want you to do that for me, why am I going to do it for you? And that mantra, that little saying, I'm living life how I believe a life should be lived. And I can say it outward. You're living life how you believe a life should be lived. It makes it so much easier to let stuff go. And it just redirects the focus, attention, time and energy back onto you in such a beautiful way to where everything's neutral and you can reach this point of acceptance with everything and everybody, because there's no longer like before I came across that saying of saying that to myself was feeling like my pops was imposing onto me. And then me trying to get him to see that he's living life in a limiting way. And that's why he's not able to do the things that he wants to do. And he's trying to get me to do the same thing. And that is two opposing forces just trying to come to an agreement where they clearly disagree, right? You can just agree to disagree. And the beautiful way to do that is you're living life how you believe a life should be lived. There's nothing right or wrong about that. It's nothing good or bad, positive or negative. It just is. And it can just be. It can just exist. Because that's really all we want the freedom to do, is exist the way that we want to. So feel free to live life. There's a fucking gnat. So I went to say it, like landed on my nose. Feel free to live life how you believe a life should be lived. I'm not going to cut that out because I feel like that's life's little comic relief in all this. So I'm wishing you an amazing day. If it's night by you, I'm wishing you an amazing night, and I will catch you later.